Hey, what's up? It's Jake. Man, today is game 6 of the first round series between the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Philadelphia Flyers. I really picked this series to only go 5 games. I thought the Penguins would more easily handle the Flyers, and at times they looked like they definitely were going to. Game 1 was a blowout in the Penguins' favor. There was a lot of people online basically counting the Flyers out, and I said, you know what, not so fast. They're going to come back hard, and that's exactly what happened. They came back and they beat the Pens 5-1 in game 2, and so they split the series in Pittsburgh. It goes to Philly. It's now kind of in the home ice, arena of Philadelphia Flyers. They have home ice advantage at this point. The Penguins go into there. They play awesome, and they end up taking both games in Philly. So it's 3-1 coming back to Pittsburgh. I'm feeling pretty good about it. Thinking, let's close it out in game 5. And the Flyers came out and played really well. The Penguins came out and didn't play very well, and basically they stole the game from us. So now we're going back to Philly for game 6. It's 3-2 Pens right now in the series, and I think the Penguins will be fine. But it's definitely, not a position you want to be in, to be going back on the road for a game 6. The Flyers have a little bit of momentum, a little bit of confidence. The Penguins' confidence might be shaken a little bit. It's hard to say. There's also potential that Evgeny Malkin might miss the game. He got injured a little bit in the last game. It was hard to tell what maybe he did, but he kind of went down hard, and he sort of got tangled up with another player that kind of landed on him. He ended up finishing the game, but it's hard to say, and they said he's a game-time decision, so so we'll see. Definitely don't want to have to go back to Pittsburgh for a game 7. If we get to that point, anything can happen, and I would absolutely hate seeing the Flyers knock off the Penguins in the first round. It would be kind of reminiscent of 93 when the Pens were back-to-back Cup champs, and 93 they were looking really good, and everyone was thinking, man, these guys are even better than the last 2 years, and they went into the playoffs and they lost in the first round. And that's the kind of thing that can happen. I mean, any game can go any way at any time, and if you get the right team and the right attitudes and the right hustle and everything like that, a team that you wouldn't think could pull it off can surprise you. So that's what's awesome about the Stanley Cup playoffs. Any team is sort of capable of pulling off the upset. And so even though I picked the Pens to win in 5, it was no surefire thing, and after the first game, I think a lot of people felt like this was going to be easy, but it hasn't been. And I'm really looking forward to the game today. It's at 3 p.m., so nice midday game instead of something late. Yesterday I watched a bit of the Blue Jackets game, and I was really bummed to see Washington come out with a win there. I thought the Blue Jackets played definitely as dominant as they've played in the third period and even in part of the overtime, and somehow Washington just got the win. So that series went from being 2-0 Capitals to 2-0 Blue Jackets to 3-2 Capitals, and now it goes back to Columbus with the Capitals up 3-2, trying to close it out in Columbus. I'm hoping that the Blue Jackets can pull it out, but we'll see. Again, that's one of those situations where up 2 games to none, people were thinking, the Blue Jackets are going to roll through the Caps, and it just didn't end up working out that way. Every team that makes the playoffs is in the playoffs for a reason. They're all good teams. So it's going to be cool to see what happens. I can't wait. Out west, I had a couple sweeps. Vegas swept the Kings, which I guess is fitting for Vegas to continue their storybook, beginning for their franchise. They weren't expected to be competitive in year 1. They were. They weren't expected to, come anywhere near the top of their division. They won it. They weren't expected to make the playoffs. They did. They weren't expected to win a round of the playoffs. They swept. I mean, it's definitely as storybook as you're going to find for a franchise to open a season or open, their existence. I'm obviously really rooting for the Penguins, but what a story it would be if the Vegas Golden Knights can go all the way and win a cup in their very first year. I mean, there would definitely have to be a movie made about that. I mean, you're talking about making a team from nothing, and yeah, I know you can say that they got all the best players and stuff like that in the expansion draft, and I do agree they were definitely set up with better personnel than any other franchise has ever been set up with for a new start. With that said, though, there is no guarantee that just because you throw together some talented players that they're going to play as a team or that they're going to win a bunch of games. Everyone is playing together for the first time, essentially. There could have been personality issues. There could have been, differences of opinion about how things should go. Everyone bought in. Everyone has played well, coached. Everything has been coached well. Everyone has played for the coaches really hard and bought into the system. And, basically they haven't had a meltdown, like some teams might have, where there's growing pains of figuring out who's going to be the star, who's going to be on this line, who's going to be on that line. Vegas has basically just fallen in line. Everyone on their team has just put their head down and done their job, and it's awesome to see. And also, for anyone who thinks that Vegas, was given an easy route to this playoff, they must not realize that Vegas had more starting goaltenders than I think anyone else in the league this year. It seemed like every time they would get a goaltender in net, he would get hurt. I can't even remember all their names. I know that Fleury got injured with a concussion for a while. They had to win without him. They had Malcolm Subban. I think he got injured at one point. Like I said, I can't remember all the players that they've had, but I mean, they went through minor league goaltenders and prospects and stuff like that, and they were still sticking around. They were still competing, and so you really can't discount what an accomplishment it is for Vegas to be where they are, because they have faced a ton of adversity. It's not as if they just got handed a Stanley Cup team and said, here, do your best. It wasn't like that. I mean, they had to make smart decisions on who they wanted to grab from which teams, and they got blessed with a phenomenal Stanley Cup winning goaltender who is probably a surefire Hall of Fame, first ballot kind of guy, in Marc-Andre Fleury. And I mean, no other expansion team has ever started out with a goalie with that kind of pedigree. But that's just the way the cards fell, and they made the most of it. But like I said, Fleury got injured and missed a ton of games this year. If he had been healthy and played to the numbers that he had when he was healthy, he'd probably be winning the Vezina this year. But he was out for such a long period of time that they had to figure out something else. They had to bandage it up, and they played a ton of different goaltenders, and they still came out on top. So hats off to the Vegas Golden Knights for really coming through and making their first year in the NHL one to remember for sure. And they swept the first round. If they end up losing in the second round or the third round, or even making it to the Cup final and they don't win at all, there's still nothing to be ashamed of there. I mean, they have a lot to be proud of, a lot to work, to build on, and I think that they have given the fans of Vegas a taste of how awesome success can be for a hockey team and how fun it can be to watch them. And they've done a great job of growing that market out there. And so that's awesome. Looking forward to the rest of the playoffs. Stay positive, hang loose.